Hello, chefs. Good morning. We are back again. I'm Isaiah, the young Jedi chef, here with the Dragon Warrior chef, German Lam, and the Phoenix Warrior chef, Noreen. We'll be your host for today's podcast. You are listening to a unique podcast where we will discuss tough yet real topics that need to be heard in the industry. In this podcast, you will hear the truth, real, raw, and unfiltered. Today, we have the honor of having registered dietitian Laura with us to discuss how health equals wealth and how living a healthy lifestyle could lead to a more prosperous career and life. I'm excited to get started and jump right in. So without further ado, I'll let the star of our show, our guest, Laura, introduce herself. Laura.
Well, hey, you guys. Yeah, I'm Laura Hartung, and thanks for having me on this Dream Team podcast. I'm very excited. I'm lucky that I have today off. It's actually Indian Day, also Columbus Day, but know that the Indians came first. All right, so I am on the Alamo Navajo reservation. I've worked here for almost 3 years next month. And how did I get into this? You said to introduce myself. Well, okay. I started off, I finished grad school in 92, and I finished with a master's in nutrition and dietetics. I headed to South Carolina where I became a registered dietitian in a hospital. We had about 80 people in there, and they were saying, Miss Dietitian, call on line 1. Oh, you're such a mess. You're such a mess of fun. You know, they say that you're a mess, but they like that. I always thought, this is great to be, in a clinical setting to put to practical use my knowledge. But I'm like, I want to work at a college. I want to work in wellness. And guess what? A job appeared, and I moved to North Carolina, and I worked at ECU for 6 years. I was the nutrition director for campus dining. I worked for Aramark and ECU. I traveled around to 6 different colleges. I got the kids excited about nutrition. I had a big wheel of nutrition, and they'd spin it and they'd say, wheel of nutrition, woo! And like by the end of that 6 years, I'd walk across campus and they'd be like, wheel of nutrition, woo! And they're like, so I like to create and ignite a desire in others to practice healthier habits, because I do practice healthy habits. I mean, this weekend I did have some delicious sourdough bread, rosemary sourdough, and I had a couple pieces of pizza from Whole Foods because I live 2 hours from the big city. I'm very isolated, so I treated myself, and it's okay. I mean, it's about moderation, variety, and balance. So after that, I thought, I want to do corporate wellness. I can't be in the Carolinas anymore. And guess what? I moved to Boston. I got a job. There was a woman working at Fidelity. She wanted to have a partner, an RD, and we tried to start this business off, but then boom, her monies ran out. But I was in Boston. I still was there for like 4 or 5 months. And then I ended up at Gold's Gym, and then Babson College. And then, you know what? It keeps snowballing. And everything that I aspired and a picture happened. Then I moved back to Ohio. And then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This was like in 2022. And boom, 2 weeks later, I get a call from out of the blue from someone that found my resume on, I don't know how, but they're like, there's a position at a registered dietitian. We like your qualities. I'm like, is this a joke? And they're like, no. And we talked, and they flew me out, and boom, I've been here ever since. So that's who I am and what I've been doing. And what I do on campus, I go into the schools and cook with the kids. I offer kids cooking classes, adult classes. We do engagement. We do wellness. I teach a women's weight training class on Wednesday nights. So I am invested in health, and I like to inspire others. So that's me.
Yeah, I love it, Laura. I love your energy. I love your passion, and I love that you're here with us today. I'm super excited to kind of talk to you and hear your stories and get into it. So thank you so much, Laura. Yeah, so often in life, especially those that work in the hospitality industry, we tend to continually be on the run, doing our best to please our guests, provide the best service possible to them. However, in the process, oftentimes we forget to take care of ourselves and nourish our bodies. When we choose to put ourselves last and neglect our health, we can lead our bodies to diseases that could be detrimental to our future. So although it could be tough to prioritize our health above all else, we must understand that it is important to recognize when we are not doing so. So this is going to lead us to our first question. What are some signs that we should recognize in our bodies or mental health that could let us know we need to make a change in our lifestyle and focus on our health? Laura, start us off.
Signs. Hey, wait, was my intro under 3? Was I okay on that?
You were good. You were perfect. You were perfect. Right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So what are some signs that you should recognize? Of course, fatigue, cloudiness, anxiety, irritability, when other people when you allow other people to get under your skin, that's a sign that you got to take a step back and look at your health. Restlessness, eating, just, craving processed sugars and fats. I mean, those are often signs that, you might have high cortisol. You may be, you may have some other issues going on, and it's important to step back and take a look at that and see where you can remedy it. Like, are you drinking too much coffee? I say that for a reason. You'll see that in a next question. Do you stay up too late? Are you scrolling on your phone too much? Are you this blue light? That's the thing. People say they don't have time, but there are always pockets of time, always. And we know that, we're all guilty of that, right? So, when you feel those kind of things, you got to take a step back. And are you nourishing your body? Are you dehydrated? Oh, I got to get some green tea. That's why I had to go before. I had like 3 cups of green tea, no coffee, FYI. But I'll tell you that again. We're gonna get back to that later. But I love green tea. Oh yeah, okay. But anyways, all those factors: dehydration, restlessness, fogginess, irritability, even like maybe swelling of your joints. There's so many things that can it can be like a red flag, like what's going on in your health.
I love it, Laura. Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you for all those red flags, Noreen. I know you're the health and wellness expert as well. I want to hear your take on it.
I agree. I agree with Laura, everything that she said. And I think like also it can be very personal. I think sometimes we have personal signs when you get to know yourself. Like, for example, when I get very irritable, I know that means I didn't sleep well. If I'm feeling very fatigued or foggy, that means I'm dehydrated. So it's very different for each person. And I love the comment about coffee because I'm trying to cut out coffee because I rely on it too much instead of trying to focus on getting, we get our energy from the food that we eat. We don't get energy from energy drinks. We don't get energy from coffee. It's just kind of something that increases a little bit of what we experience, but it's not going to really wake you up. It's not going to give you energy. So I've been trying matcha and I love matcha. Green tea is really, really good for you. And it's about finding foods that have a lot going for them. They have antioxidants, they have vitamins, they have, dense calories, they have a lot of protein. So knowing yourself and what you need is really important because then you can recognize those signs that Laura was talking about.
Yeah, I love it. And I gotta say, I gotta work on the coffee thing too. I'm actually here at Starbucks with a frappuccino. But no, yeah, thank you for that great advice, Laura. Green tea is definitely a good substitute for that caffeine, get a little energy in you, and get rid of that brain fog. So thank you so much, Laura. Chef Lam, what's your spin?
You know what? I love this, and for me, I'm gonna be quick and simple because we're here to listen to Laura's story, right? And I would say finding a partner, an example. What I mean by that is, do you have a friend that says, "Hey, you know what? You look like Chef Boyardee." You know that? I mean, that shouldn't be happening. Your clothes are changing. Suddenly, you look like a toothpick. And because it's very personal, very private. But if you care for someone now, your eyes, your mind, your heart, they don't lie. And to me, that is the thing that I always said. Our body's a Ferrari. And that means, what do? We put premium fuel into it. And where are the premium fuels? The 5 food groups. And to me, that is really understanding, it's not putting junk. You're putting short fuel that it's not going to make your Ferrari perform the way it can. So to me, I love food, and it's really understanding your body. And when you crash and burn, that's good. Because then it tells you, oh, this recipe of, selections of ingredients that I just decide to, eat, it doesn't perform. But then suddenly if you go, oh, I eat some oatmeal, maybe some sushi, maybe some plant-based food. Wow, I'm performing the way I can.
No, I love it, Chef. And I like how you said your body is a Ferrari. If you put the wrong gas in it, it won't go. If you put the bad stuff in it, it won't go, it won't perform. So what you eat definitely has an effect on how you sleep, how you perform on your day-to-day basis at work and life. So it's super important. So thank you so much for that, Chef. So I believe that in order to give our 100% to people, we must be at 100% ourselves. So when we're not feeling our best, it could affect how we work, and it could also affect how we treat other people. So the next part of our podcast, my favorite part, story time. So is there a time in your life where your health and wellness affected your work or how you treated people? And how did you make a change or turn it around? Laura, you want to start us off?
Hey, yes, I sure do. This year has been a very transformative year for me. April 1st, my father, he was 95 and a half, he passed away, and he lived a good life. His birthday would have been last Thursday. So it was very emotional. I hit the ground running. I didn't know if I should come back here, but I heard my dad's voice saying, Laura, don't give up, do it. Come on, finish the year. And that's how he is. And I have that spirit from him. But I came back, I never really got to process. I never got to mourn. And from like April on, I have been like just drinking so much coffee. I was drinking so much coffee. I drink it morning, noon, night. And I put, if I go on the road, because there's a 2-hour drive, I get a large cup with cream in it. I drink it. I drink one. I'd get an espresso or a latte, at Starbucks in the city. Then I get one on the way home. I come here and I would drink coffee, in the morning, at lunch, before I even went to bed. It was too much. I knew something. It just was. It was way too much. I went and got my blood work done because I thought, what's going on? I wasn't feeling myself, but I was also mourning. I was also a little depressed, but it's situational because I missed my father. I would talk to him 2 to 3 times a day here. And it's very isolating, but he was my biggest fan. And he always would say, what did you talk to your patients today? What did you make the kiddos? How are your dogs? And I have 3 rescue dogs, by the way. I had 4 yesterday, but I dropped one off. That's another story. But the thing is, I was really relying too much on coffee. I love coffee. Okay. And you know what? There are some healthy properties. They have flavonols, they have plant chemicals, the antioxidants in the coffee bean are amazing. The caffeine actually, it can be an ergogenic aid. It does help the perceived effort of exercise. It decreases that. So a little coffee is okay. That's what I was telling myself. But then I got my blood work done. Everything was great. My iron was good. My vitamin D was amazing. But my cholesterol had gone up. And I was like, my LDLs, which are low density, which are the ones that can clog your arteries. I'm like, what the heck am I doing differently that I wasn't doing before? And you know what? I was drinking so much coffee and cream, but it was the unfiltered. I like my coffee thick, okay? I like French press, I like espresso. I don't like, like just regular coffee, and I wasn't using a filter. And there's 2 oils in coffee that actually can raise your LDL cholesterol if you're sensitive. I've always had, like, my cholesterol usually runs around 210, but my HDLs are 67, 72, like my triglycerides are 35. Like I have like perfect lipid panel, except my LDLs are a little high, and that can be genetic. But anyways, I said, okay, doc, I am going to go off coffee, and I'm also going to include things that I stopped doing. Like I was eating oatmeal every day, blueberries, flaxseed. Guess what? I got back to that. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was in 4, it was actually 1 month that I did this. And now I've been off coffee for 8 weeks. Okay. So people say, you're hyper. It must be the coffee. I'm like, no, it's not. Okay. But anyways, my LDLs dropped 37 points, and They're normal again. Cause I knew if I can do this, I can do anything I put my mind to it, because I love coffee. But guess what? I have not even had store-bought coffee. I had 3 cups of coffee since it was after my blood work. It was 6 weeks actually. I actually had a cup of coffee. It didn't even taste as good. It was a blend. And I'm like, I don't even need to do this. And I'm going to go without getting coffee until I really need it. But it was a tribute to like when you put your mind to something, it will happen. And food is truly medicine, or it is your demise. And for me, coffee can be okay if in moderation. Like if I'm in the mountains of Sardinia, drinking with the centenarians and, having a little bit, I was overdoing it. So anything you're overdoing it, whether it be alcohol, processed sugar, you can step back. And even nicotine, you do have control. It's hard. And I didn't like people for a couple of weeks. I'm like, oh, I didn't get headaches, but people sure annoyed me. But I did it. And it's like, now I don't even want to adulter my body with that, with nothing but I don't even want to go back. So did I answer that? Yeah, I think I did. That was a time in my life. But we have the power. we have to put ourselves in a state of of being uncomfortable. Anything worthwhile takes effort. You know, people say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do, you know what? That is BS, okay? If you really want to do something, you can do it. But, you know, and I didn't have any support. Yeah, like you sometimes you have to be your biggest support. But yes, like Chef German said, get a friend, get people to support you. But I need to do that on my own. But other things, get support, hold someone to hold you accountable. So that's my story. And I'm feeling I have so much more energy. I'm sleeping better. I love that I did that. It's like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a great story. It was so timely when I got your questions. Like, that's a timely topic because I did it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm loving this, Laura. I'm loving your answers. I'm loving everything about it. So yeah, I'm gonna let Noreen go because I know Noreen. Go for it.
No, I mean, like, I think, like, I even think to something that happened just last week at work. One of my coworkers, he stopped me and he was like, "Are you okay? You seem very unfriendly today." And I was like, "Oh, have I? Have I been? I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize it." And it's because I was detoxing from that pre-shift coffee, like right at 5 o'clock. We open at 5:30. A lot of us, we have an espresso machine in the restaurant. It's an Italian restaurant, so we'll have just a coffee to get us until, we're working until midnight, usually 11 midnight. So I didn't realize I was being irritable and snappy. And it just gave me a little bit more patience. I said, have some patience with me. I'm still like, trying to get back, but it just made me more mindful of the way I carry myself. And, sometimes we go through difficulties and we keep the challenges closer when we're at work and not emanate it out. So I think that was really important. And it made me realize how much of a difference it makes the way you fuel your body. So I'm glad that I've gotten off the coffee. I still love coffee. Like Laura said, there's so many benefits, but I don't need to have 2, 3, 4 cups a day just to get myself through my shift. That means that I need to change something else. I need to be sleeping better. I need to eat a high protein meal before I go into work, whatever it is that I need to do for myself. And, Laura, that was really interesting about the oils and the coffee because I also drink French press. So I had no idea that it was releasing that much. And that's really interesting.
Even my doctor didn't know. Even like some of the 2 doctors didn't know. They're like, what? Yeah. I didn't know that. Look it up. It's like kafal and castle. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's one starts with a K, the other starts with a C, and it can raise some, it's true. I mean, it's true. So another reason if you're sensitive to it,
If you're sensitive, right. Thank you.
Yeah, but I hear you. I love coffee too. Oh my gosh.
It's a treat.
Yeah, it is. Lattes, cappuccinos, can drink them all day long.
La 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 la.
And that's the way I view it now. It's a treat. So if I'm gonna hang out with my parents, my dad roasts and grinds his own coffee, and he does filter. He likes the American drip. I'm definitely gonna have a cup of his coffee for sure. But am I gonna have it as part of my routine? Probably not. It's one thing that I've recently eliminated. So.
No, yeah, and that's true. It can become like an addictive thing as well. People take coffee before their shift, after their shift, energy drinks, 2 or 3 energy drinks a day, slam them down. And it's it detriments your body, it kind of breaks it down. So I think everything in moderation is okay. But once you start letting it become a habit and addiction is when it starts to become a problem. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, Noreen. Thank you, Laura, for that. Chef Lam, what's your spin?
Oh, you see, I'm listening to this and I have a different approach, right? So think about when you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, your body is like a yo-yo. It bounces back so quick. But when you hit 50, 40 and 50, oh my God, or 60, it's like a turtle. But the way I look at it is food was meant to be eaten. And to me, my philosophy is if you instill discipline and structure, and suddenly you understand the power of fasting and cleaning and building and repairing it, now you are going to be in a journey where you could drink whatever you want, you can whatever you want, as long as you understand what's going to do what's going to happen to your body. Meaning the next day, you go to the gym, you're not going to be spunky, you're not going to be like power. So, and I think for humans, and also like morning, when I always say, eat well. Why? Because, that person, especially your parents, sure, you cry, you feel sad, but they want you to be your personal best. And what does that mean? Go back to what they taught you, you know? So,
Yeah, no, I love that, Chef. So, yeah, like you said, it's important that we, take care of ourselves, that we don't do things in excess, and we make sure that if we are going to treat ourselves, just that one time, and we go back to our diet, we go back to our healthy regimen after. But it's good to cheat and have a little fun sometimes. So, it's important to learn from our past and become stronger. Dramatic improvements or progress to our lives don't happen overnight, but they happen over a period of time with small changes. So, what are some daily practices that we could do to improve our overall mental and physical health? And what are some tricks to stay disciplined? Laura, go for it.
Oh, well, I think daily, I think one thing you said, what can you do to increase your health? Well, get some dogs. Okay. I have 3 rescue dogs. 2 of them chose me off the res. The mama came, she was starving. She had her eyes, someone poked her eyes out. She was nursing, her ribs were showing. I fed her, I got in trouble. They're like, don't feed the dogs. I'm like, how can I not? Well, then she found me at my house. And then 2 weeks later, she brought her little puppy this big. And I also have another rescue. So I have Piggy, Mama Coco, and Oscar. So how to increase your health? Definitely get an animal, get a dog. Those dogs keep me going. I walk them 2 to 3 times a day. They keep me going on days where I'm like, oh, come rain, shine, snow, you got to get up and walk your dogs. But also, let's talk about the food. Food is medicine. All right. You definitely, there's not one size fits all when it comes to breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay. Sometimes I like fasting. I think a 24-hour fast is great. Try it. Water, even fasting can be healthy, but there's so much. I don't know. I just sometimes I get frustrated when people like fast, but then they go and eat crap afterwards. If you're going to fast, then you want to fuel your body with prebiotics, probiotics, things that are gut healthy. You don't want to fast and then have a big, a big hamburger with bacon cheese. Like I see people doing that. It's not promoting healthy habits. There's not a one size fit all diet, but I'll tell you, you got to get your lean proteins. You got to get your fiber. You got to get your prebiotics, probiotics. Your prebiotics are your undigestible fibers that feed the probiotics. The probiotics are things in yogurt, kimchi, even temp, in undigestible. There's so many foods that can, that our health starts in our gut. So the question was what again?
It was what can we do on a daily basis to kind of get those habits right?
Oh, okay. A daily basis. First, you got to shop. Yeah. You got to grocery shop. You got to make a list. I'm isolated. Okay. I'm 2 hours away from a grocery store. I'm 2 hours away from Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. I'm an hour away from Walmart, but it's a hike. Okay. I make a list. I cannot go and just grab anything from the store. It is an effort, but you know what? In planning, when you plan to fail, you fail to, and you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I really think you do need to plan, especially when you're busy. And I know chefs have very busy, they have I know some people work 12 hours. Sometimes, you get home, you're tired, you go, your days off, you're not shopping, but you got to have your fuel. You got to stock up. You got to have your things. And you can have some processed foods like beans, sardines, nuts, seeds, but you have things in your freezer. You got to stock up. That's non-negotiable, because how can you make a healthy meal if you don't have it? And I know people that are in the kitchen all day don't want to necessarily cook, but you got to fuel your body. Health is your biggest wealth, and that starts with what you put in your body. But what can you do to be consistent? Have the foods on hand. I try to eat consistently, right? I try to not eat my biggest meal at night. That's another thing that I didn't do when my whole transfer, when I got my cholesterol lower. I started eating, because I'm a plant forward omnivore. I eat everything, but I like plants. We need more plants in our diet. Forget about that. We don't get enough protein. We get plenty of protein, but not the right types. But we have to have protein. But we also have to more plants with the antioxidants, the vitamins and minerals, the phytochemicals. Our DNA gets hit 10,000 times a day. And unless you have an instant infusion of your plant-based antioxidants And selenium, well, fish has selenium. That's an antioxidant. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals in your body and prevent damage and inflammation. And, but to make it a habit, you have to have it in your house. All right. Make a list. If you're having friends over, have healthy foods, bring your friends in. There's no easy way. I mean, we're human, but I don't there's no quick fix. You have to try to be disciplined, and that's a thing. And 30 days can be a habit, but continue. And if you mess up a little, it's okay. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. I mean, I eat healthy about 85-90% of the time, but like this weekend I wanted what I wanted and I had it, and guess what, I still worked out. That's another thing. You got to work out. You got to lift weights. Women, you got to lift weights. I'm going to be 60 in February. I can't believe I'm going to be 60. German's up there with me. I mean, we're going to be in our 6th decade, but I'll tell you, if I didn't eat the way I did, exercise, try to reduce stress and make it a, constant in my life, I'm aging. Okay. Things are falling, but what are you going to do? But I still fight the good fight, so that's all I have to say. I don't have any quick fixes. All right.
Wow, that was amazing, Laura. You're like a walking encyclopedia. I love it. And by the way, you don't look a day over 30. Looking
That's
good.
What I was fishing.
Good.
I was fishing for a compliment.
Yeah.
I do look a day over 30, but that's okay. I'm
not
fighting the good fight.
Skin looks nice. You got the energy. You're good.
Okay.
We love it, Laura.
Thank you.
Of course. Noreen, Chef Lam, go for it.
Yeah, no, I think something I practice is like do it today for future Noreen, so that I can look and have the energy that Laura has at her age. That's the goal, right? Like it's about setting your goal and keeping on to it. And it's a lifestyle change. I'm not going to do something for 3 weeks and think that it's going to change my overall health and wellness for the rest of my life. So it can be habit cutting, those 3, 4, 5 weeks, but it's really about choosing to do things long term. And I'm going to say what Laura said again, eat fiber. That's one of the biggest problems in the American diet. We do not eat enough fiber. Eat your fruits, whole fruits, not the juice. You need to have the whole fruit with the flesh and the skin. Eat your vegetables. There's so many different types of preparations of vegetables. I have this issue even when I go out to eat or when I eat at the cafeteria at work. I always tell my coworkers, like, where are the vegetables? I just want to eat some vegetables. And that's really something that I think we have to be very cognizant of. I think we get passively a lot of carbs. The American diet has a lot of protein. We do eat a lot of protein in the States in general. Some people need more than others, right? But I'm just going to say it again and again. Eat your fiber, eat your fiber, eat your fiber. It can come from whole grains. It can come from whole foods, but it's as simple as adding veggies to an omelet or having a side salad with your lunch. It doesn't have to completely replace everything. Your carbs are not bad, just making sure that it's whole grains, high quality. So it's just about paying attention to what we eat. And the trick to it is just wanting to do that for yourself. It is a form of self-care, right? Making sure that you're fueled well. So the trick is just to decide that you want to do it, have an accountability partner, have a plan. I think that's really the biggest thing. Have a plan and stick to it.
Yeah, I love it. I think accountability is also a big thing as well, because at my job, they have a salad bar every day, and every day gets skipped by me. So it's definitely need to start making those habits and to get into fiber and all that good stuff. So thank you for that, Noreen. Chef Lam?
Well, you know what? I could write a book about this and it would be 1 page, right? You have a mirror, you have clothes. You want those clothes to fit your body. Well, you got to do some things, right? And to me, body, mind, spirit, and food, that is my principle in life. And you got the 5 food groups, right? They will dictate and they will guide you where you want to eat. What I do is I'll give you my recipe for the whole week. I'll bet you for the whole month. For breakfast, I make a big bucket of oatmeal with water. And guess what? It doesn't go bad. It doesn't turn. So you have to understand food on shelf life. You have your fruits. Did you eat that? For lunch, oh my God, I make a big batch of polenta. Oh my God, right? Then I take that and I put it in the pan. I add water to it, thin it down. Oh, then I'm gonna add some turkey chili to it. Oh, boom, boom, boom. You know, I eat that, you know, roasted some corn, put some tomatoes. Then when I'm done with that, you know where I go? I go to my kale, my raw kale,
Mm.
my blue cheese dressing, you know, my onions, my cucumbers. Boom. That's it.
The face.
When's lunch? When's lunch? I want to come over. When's
Bon
lunch?
appetit.
Sounds delicious.
Oh,
Yeah.
and for dinner, whatever is in the refrigerator that's you know, that I could use to piece a meal together, that's what I do. You know what I mean? So I let the food in the refrigerator tell me, okay, what you're gonna eat, you know? Oh, seafood, oh my God. A nice piece of swordfish, a nice piece of cod, a nice piece of sole, you know? So it really, it's simple, but planting that seed in the foundation, and you are a track star.
Yeah, no, I love it, Chef. So we have about 7 minutes left. So basically, to kind of wrap it up, it's always said you are what you eat. You know, so what are some good essential health foods that we should include in our diet, and how often should we eat them? I know you were talking about fibers, Laura, but what are some more health foods that we should include in our diet?
Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I like the term health foods, but I mean, I think essential foods because it's a label.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, you know, I just want to note on just about fiber. You know, Americans average about 11 grams of fiber a day, and we should be getting 25 to 35 grams of fiber, about 14 grams per 1,000 calories. And you know, like that would take care of so much. So many problems if we did get more fiber for our gut health. It helps you feel more satiated. It's good for cholesterol. And some of the foods definitely look at, okay, beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat them, you know, hey, it's a good start. I'm not going to, you know, beans, you know, can you see these? Beans, black beans,
Yeah.
garbanzo beans, chickpea, they're economical. People say, oh, healthy eating's so expensive. You know what? Take a look at how much you spend outside of the home on food. You know what, healthy eating is not expensive. You know what's more expensive? Being sick. I also like sardines. So I say beans, greens, sardines. I like sardines in every flavor. These actually have their spicy tomato. I like it, you know, and all my friends eat sardines too, or they're beginning to, because, you know, they are smelly. I don't bring them to work, but, you know, they do grow on you. Canned tuna or canned salmon. I mean, you do need to get your omega-3 rich fatty acid foods, you know, your fatty fish, mackerel, salmon, sardines, even a little swordfish, because swordfish has more selenium that binds with the mercury. Pregnant women can even have, you know, a couple servings of salmon, like the lower mercury fish. Sardines are very low in mercury. You know, omega-3s are good for the developing fetus. I mean, my dad got my mom and made her eat a big pieces of mackerel when I was in the womb, and he's like, "You eat this, Susie," and he was behind his time. I mean, my father, he was drinking apple cider vinegar, eating garlic, and like, you know, eating like fish way before it was time. And he, you know, I remember one of my boyfriends at my dad's celebration of life came in and brought a picture of garlic. He's like, I remember when your dad used to eat raw garlic, and that was like 40 years ago. But you know, he was behind his time. And you know, garlic, like garlic, onions, garlic is good for your health. About 22 cloves of garlic actually decreases cholesterol, but it's still, it has all kinds of wonderful phytochemicals. Of course, you know, garlic every day would be good. You want to make a list? Okay, omega-3 rich fatty salmon, like maybe, you know, 2 to 3 times a week. Nuts and seeds, 2 ounces a day. Black or green tea, 1 to 2 cups a day. Garlic, 1 to 3 fresh cloves per day. I'm not there. This was a health expert that he's a cardiologist, and he had this list. Even some chocolate, some cocoa powder again, flavonols, antioxidants. Oh, and you know what I was drinking instead of coffee? I was drinking cocoa powder with, you know, and it was like so rich and it was delicious. And I'm like, I don't need coffee. I got cocoa powder. Cruciferous veggies like your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, kale. Those are wonderful. You know, I could go on and on. You should eat it daily. Purple and blue fruits and vegetables daily. Berries, you know, your blueberries, your cabbage. That's cruciferous. But yellow and orange fruits and veggies are high in citrus and vitamin A, like carrots, red peppers, oranges. Kiwi actually has a lot of citrus. Your green fruits and veggies, spinach, red fruits and vegetables, strawberries daily, okay? But you know, it's hard to get all of those daily, but we intermix. And I was going to say something else. Darn. Okay, wait. We need to eat the more, prevention. I don't know. It'll come to me. Darn it. I had something good to say and I just slipped my mind on my list. See, I shouldn't have looked at that list. It got me distracted. I don't need a list. I know
You don't
that's
need no list. You don't
but
need
anyway,
no list.
but anyway, you know, just working it in and then also enjoying some of the finer things. Like I didn't give up red wine, but I didn't drink a lot of it but now there, you know, research is saying that any amount of alcohol is bad. But you know,
a little red wine never hurt the soul.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I kind of exhausted all that, but eating all those foods daily, salmon twice a week. You know, of course, sourdough bread is good because it has that lactobacillus. It has that good probiotic in it. Delicious, you know. So.
I love it,
Oatmeal.
Laura.
Oh my gosh, oatmeal. I forgot. I'm sorry. Oh, I know what I want to say. I'll wrap this up. I am so tired of non-nutrition people talking that, oh, fruit is fattening. I don't need any carbs, but then they'll have an apple martini. Or they're like, I'm fasting. I'm so tired of things on TikTok and social media. Like, oh, you can't eat, you know, oatmeal's bad. It is not bad. It is good. I mean, not everyone likes it, but you know, there's so much misinformation. I just want people to beware because not everything out there, just because it sounds good and people are talking about it and they sound good on the internet doesn't mean it's true. You know, seek to your information from get your information from nutrition professionals and professionals in the culinary that know what they're talking about.
I love it, Laura. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. It really means a lot. Noreen, Chef Lam, 30 seconds, wrap it up.
One thing I will add to Laura's amazing list is drinking water.
Oh,
you don't need to drink sugary drinks. Just drink water, please. I'm self included. Water. It is so essential for the brain. It's essential for the organs. It's essential in digestion. All of it. So.
I love it. Thank you, Noreen. Chef Lam.
Well, you know what? I'm going to piggyback what Noreen mentioned. You know what I do with water? Whatever vegetables you enjoy, turn it into a flavor water. And by doing this, guess what? Water's not boring, you know. What am I having right now? I'm having ginseng water. Ginseng and ginger. So things that gives flavor. And I got to say this, Laura, thank you for sharing your story with the world.
Yeah, Laura, you've been amazing. So thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for your time. I loved your energy, Laura. I loved all your stories. And see you guys on the next podcast. Thank you.